Now imagine finding out the baby you're carrying has a life-threatening condition so serious that you're offered the choice to terminate the pregnancy. Well, for the Kelly family, that was just one of a series of difficult choices they've had to make.
We're back!
Hello.
Hello, hi. What we got? Spot's baby sister.
Little Jack Kelly's life hung in the balance even before he was born. His parents, Alison and Graham, were told he only had a 50% chance of survival and were asked if they wanted to continue with the pregnancy.
It was at the 20-week scan, and they just said there was a problem with the heart. And we kind of had heard about a hole in the heart and thought, well, is that what you mean? They said, no, it's far worse. So that was a bit of a worrying moment.
Because it was so early, we were offered the option of termination. So the first decision we had to make was whether Alison was going to continue with the pregnancy. And that was hard, wasn't it?
We either had to have a termination, which would have meant basically giving birth to a dead baby, or giving birth to a baby and then you either went through the options of the operations. And we came to the conclusion that we'd rather know Jack for 6 hours, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, whatever it was, than not know him at all.
The pumping chamber in Jack's heart taking blood to the lungs wasn't working. A series of complex operations was the only answer.
I mean, the end result of the three-staged operation is that he has what they call a Fontanes, which means that the blood will circulate around his body in a circular fashion, as opposed to a figure of 8, which is the way we all have the blood circulating around our body.
Spot, we have a surprise for you. What is it, Dad?
The family are back in for what they hope is the last stage of Jack's surgery, fitting a pacemaker to regulate his heart rate.
He's been more breathless than we would have hoped after he'd had the final operation. After he'd had the final operation back in September, his colour went from blue to pink, but that's actually been quite deceptive because the heart rate's been slow, so he has still been very breathless. A 10-minute walk to his school has been taking him an hour, so his physical ability is not as good as we would have hoped. And the pacemaker that they're going to implant tomorrow will hopefully give him a little bit better tolerance levels and therefore better quality of life, which is at the end of the day why we have agreed to go through with the series of operations and why we went ahead with the pregnancy in the first place.
And off we go. Bye-bye. I'm going to show Daddy now.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
And we'll be following Jack's amazing operation a little later in the programme.
But first, 3-year-old Jack Kelly, who after 4 major open heart operations is now about to have what his parents hope will be his final surgery, the fitting of a tiny pacemaker.
The good news is, right, these tests will make your heart go faster. Or if you've got a faster heart, you'll have lots more energy.
You can probably eat more.
And you'll be eating more, yeah. You'll be able to run around and keep up with James and Sam and Ben and all your friends and Jude.
Jack's having a pacemaker fitted today. He was born with complex congenital heart diseases and in fact undergone 4 open heart surgical procedures. Unfortunately, one of the side effects of the surgery is that he's developed a very slow heartbeat, and this makes him pretty tired and also prone to dizzy spells. And I'm hopeful that by putting in the pacemaker today, we'll be able to sort that out and enable him to continue with his normal life.
In order to fit the pacemaker, Mr. Rosenthal first has to make a pocket under the skin, but Jack won't know it's there.
Just through the soft tissue, and that's one of the other differences with adult pacemakers. Generally, the pacemaker goes above the muscle. In children, because they're so thin, it is better to go underneath the muscle, but that involves a lot more dissecting.
This is a controller which enables us to drive the spotlights into whatever position we desire without actually reaching up to touch them. Once it's in the beam, you can steer the lights into the field that the surgeon's working in.
Now the pacemaker lead is fitted into a large vein behind Jack's collarbone and then fed into his heart. X-rays allow the surgeon to guide it into position.
Right, I hope at last we've got the sheath in position, although it's been quite a fiddle. Let's screen that again. We've got the lead into position. It's actually fixed into the atrial wall, but at a position slightly unusual, and I'm just a little concerned whether it's actually going to work well enough. So we're going to test the lead out now by passing electrical current down it to see whether it actually stimulates the heart.
That's maximum, that's 10 volts.
So that's not capturing.
Scarring from Jack's previous surgery is preventing the current passing through Jack's heart. It takes several painstaking efforts to find the right position.
This looks a very good signal. We should be on a nice piece of the heart. It's capturing, it's giving out good signals, and the lead looks to be screwed in place. So if that's the case, then we're probably almost there.
The pacemaker can now be fitted and shouldn't need replacing for about 6 years.
Yeah, so this is the pacemaker you see over here, which is one of the smallest that is available. It's just a matter of screwing it on using an ordinary screwdriver. Well, once he's recovered from the pain and is able to be up and about in a few days' time, I would have thought he will notice a significant improvement.
I'll be meeting up with Jack and his family a little bit later in the programme.
Now, Matthew is with Jack Kelly, who we saw earlier in the programme having a pacemaker fitted.
You do look very well, you know. Is this your 5th operation you just had? No. 4th? No. 3rd? 2nd? 1st? You had any operations at all? I didn't think so, no. So tell me what was wrong with his heart in the first place.
Well, he had something known as tricuspid atresia, which means that half the right-hand pumping chamber wasn't big enough to be functional. He also had something called TGA, which is where the 2 main arteries are around the wrong way, and he had a narrow aortic arch. So any one of those on their own would have been fairly difficult and tricky, but the combination was quite rare, and so therefore needed some major surgery.
And you knew you were in for trouble, didn't you?
20-week scan, yeah. So we kind of got prepared for it. Although the toughest decision was deciding at the 20-week scan what to do, whether to go ahead or stop. But actually, we made the right decision.
Yes, you did, didn't you?
He's been a real star throughout. The right little fighter, aren't you, Jack?
You've been fighting, Jack? Yes, very good. Jolly good. I can't get over it because he's always so chatty.
I know. What's happened to your voice? You've lost your voice.
Yeah, that's right. So, Eric, tell us what's going on, because he looks so well.
Well, Jack has had 4 major open heart operations to correct his underlying heart defects. And one of the side effects of the last bit of surgery was that his pacemaker was damaged by the scarring from surgery, and as a result his heartbeat got very slow, and that was causing him to be tired and dizzy, and we've therefore put in a pacemaker to compensate for that, and I'm hopeful now he'll be back to his usual self.
So what's going to happen now? I mean, will he have to have more operations?
Well, he will need the pacemaker changed in about 6 or 7 years, and otherwise hopefully no other operations.
How are you feeling about the future, Alison?
Very optimistic. He enjoys a very good quality of life, which is one of the reasons we went into this whole thing for him. If we thought it would be otherwise, we wouldn't have gone ahead. And his quality of life is great. He runs around with his brothers. He has a really good time at school. He hasn't got any mental problems at all, and he just possibly won't be the marathon runner. But then again, he can always go and go, can't he?
Jack, you know that you've got the same name as my grandson. Who's your favourite TV star? Anybody? Pingu. Thank you, Jack. It's very helpful. Thanks, Alison.